Hello. My name is Neil Smith. I'm a playwright. So I spend most of my time in a room facing a screen. So this is a little bit different for me. So do bear with me. I'm also, I work at the Barbican Centre as part of the audience experience. And I want to start sort of a context of the idea by saying that I'm not talking about an idea about theatre as surviving. I want to talk about theatre as thriving. So the idea behind it sort of almost felt like this idea when I came in and saw everyone together, and this idea of community, and everyone come together passionate about an industry and wanting to look at a future that we can work together in. And so the underlying idea that I want to present is the idea of setting up an arts bank. So this would be a bank that was for the arts, by the arts, for everyone. This would be an online bank set up in collaboration with the cooperative bank. It would be non-profit making, and it would be a community bank to bring all these, and it's not just theatre, it's for the entire arts sector. So how it would work at the moment, it seems to me, is a playwright who's constantly trying to scrab around to get little bits of funding from bursaries, from funds, and they decide whether I'm good enough or appropriate enough. And the idea is to get all the funding that's now out there, in all little bits, putting the Arts Council to one side, and to bring all that funding into a central point of this bank. So the bank will be at the point at which the funding is given and decided on. Now, this would be in a partnership. I could see it in partnership with the Arts Council. It's not to replace the Arts Council, but I think we can all agree the Arts Council is under an incredible amount of pressure and it needs help. And so the bank is there almost to help the Arts Council by dealing with all the projects, let's say 50,000 and below, so the grassroots projects, and leave the Arts Council to deal with the over 50,000 or 100,000 and the portfolio projects. So that's let the Arts Council focus on those with their funding that they've already got, and we'll deal with the grassroots projects. So really, it's about bringing all the funding together, and there's no ideological process. So it's not saying whether you're going to work in the community, whether you're going to solve the world's problems. It's essentially to bring it back to a basic level where everyone can get funding through the bank. So how would it work? So you could have branches all around the country. I would suggest maybe a county-based process. So every county has a branch. It is online, but the branch is a collective of artists, and they're partners with the bank. So let's say you've got a play and you want to do an R&D, and you want to get funding. You would apply to the bank, and then you'd be allocated a partner. That partner would then be work with the project, the artist involved in that, to get the budget correct. So really, the main focus would be the budget rather than the art itself. Part of it is to get the art to be valuable in itself rather than to judge it as being appropriate or doing enough. So the budget would be the focus, and the partner would work with that company. Once the budget is confirmed, then the bank would automatically set up an account for that particular project with the amount that's straight into the account to be spent by the company or the artist ASAP. So it's partly to free up all the time to allow projects and art to art, let's say as a verb, to kind of get this grassroots projects going all across the country. In return, I think, as a process for the bank, as a contract with the bank, that the artists commit to putting one person from the project to become a partner on behalf of the bank within the same county. So that partner would be allocated by the bank to help another project, who then does a funding application. And it could be across the arts, as I said. It's not just a theatre thing. So someone who's into sculpture could be connected with a theatre project. And so it's kind of almost a networking technique as well. If you get funding, you should also make 2 more commitments. Obviously, that the budget is fulfilled and the project is fulfilled. The partner would oversee that as well, as a partner rather than a bank manager, let's say, but someone who could oversee that project. Now, obviously, a lot of these R&Ds aren't profit-making, but this would not be a loan in the way that banks normally do, and it follow the same sort of great ideas that I think of the Arts Council, which is everyone should be paid appropriately. But one of the contracts is that, let's say you do an R&D with a play. When it first starts, it won't make any money. But for the life of that project, the company or the artist commits to putting 50% of all profits long-term into the bank. So actually the artist will also invest in the bank. But this could be a play which then goes onto the stage, then goes onto the West End. That investment initially will then follow through long-term. So where would this money come from? So as I said, part of it will be the funding from all these different sources. Using the bank, it's getting everyone to use the bank. So it's not just artists. It could be open if we give a very basic interest rate, get the wealth. I mean, I'm quite uncomfortable with the lottery and the idea of gambling, using those funds to help the arts. So I think let's do a wealth tax, which this government doesn't really want to do, and actually get the wealthy to invest in the bank at a core level, with, in return, like a lot of banks, they give returns of access to the arts. So again, this is where the community idea, the philosophy behind it is, and then the arts. So if someone or a company invests a huge amount of money, they get a card, which then gives them access across the country to access to the arts. It's not a tax, but let's bring them together. So it will also involve the public. Public could bring the voucher system into the bank so that people can buy its presents. And also we have the artist investment. And this could, if we get the structure right, this could be a cultural process where we could get a sports bank could learn from this. And it could actually go international. So there could be an arts bank set up in each country, which could then talk together, raise the investment, and we could make money on the money we get using the cooperative bank. So just in conclusion, there's a lot going on. It's a massive idea, but it's the idea of now possibly presenting as theatres, that the theatre could stand up and get all the arts together and at least start this conversation of redefining the arts to the entire sector. And this is maybe one idea to put forward. Thank you for listening.
First, I'd like to apologise. I've got a sore throat today, so I'm very, very croaky. I'm Sharon. I work at the Theatre Hall Nottingham. My big idea is to build a digital hub for visiting companies. So touring with a show is rewarding, but it comes with logistical challenges. Visiting cast and crew, or customers too, they eat, drink and explore the local area, contributing to the venue's ecosystem. They also share their experiences online with their audiences, and they can influence the venue's reputation. Yet every new venue brings the same challenges. Where do we stay? What are the tech specs? Where can I get a decent coffee? To name a few. Currently, many visiting companies, next slide please. Currently, many visiting companies rely on outdated, often non-branded PDFs, scattered emails, word of mouth, or last-minute online searches. The result is inefficiency, stress, and a fragmented experience for everybody. But at venues, we can change this. My idea is simple yet transformative. Imagine a private section on your venue's website dedicated entirely to visiting companies, freelancers, and artists. A digital hub offering everything they need as a single source of truth and a greater degree of self-service. all in one place, which is easily updated and accessible. I identified this need because the current processes were repetitive, admin heavy, and staff resources could be better focused on higher value work, especially when we're stretched for time and we're seeking to streamline our processes and systems. I think my slides are in the wrong order. So how would it work? Once venues have built the private section on their existing website, ahead of a tour or a show, they'd simply send the link and a welcome email to the visiting companies. On arrival, a QR code at stage door and in dressing rooms would give them instant access, as this slide shows. Next slide, please. Here's some examples of what the hub would cover. Travel links, including parking, public transport, loading information, and more. Next slide, please. A range of accommodation options, including partner hotels, private rooms, self-contained accommodation, and accessible places. Next slide, please. Technical specs and backstage information. Next slide, please. General building information, including key contacts, signing in sheets, local healthcare, pharmacies, catering facilities, and more. Next slide, please. Key venue policies, such as animal policy, child protection, and any policies you may have as a venue. Slide 10, please. Yep. Dressing rooms, green rooms, and rehearsal space information. Next slide, please. Also discounts with bars, cafes, gyms, and attractions. And this is an example of what we currently got where I work. Next slide, please. And a quick form for continuous improvement. And the best part, it's already been implemented with minimal cost and time investment compared to the gains in customer service and internal efficiencies. I developed and launched this at the Theatre Royal and Royal Consort of Nottingham last year, and it's working well. We've received positive feedback from visiting companies, local businesses have benefited from it, and in fact we've seen an increase in interest from new partners who wish to join, and most importantly as a venue, we're saving valuable time. For the Theatre Royal and Royal Concert Hall, our next steps are to develop the hub further with imagery, videos such as an access walkthrough, and bespoke itineraries with our local tourism board. In summary, the benefits are clear. Visiting companies have a smoother, more professional experience. Venues strengthen their reputation, efficiency and community links. Local economies grow. Artists feel valued and connected. Venues work smarter, not harder. And the arts becomes an even stronger, more welcoming industry. Next slide, please. So looking ahead, my vision is to create a framework and toolkit so venues of all sizes can set up their own digital hubs quickly and easily, building a consistent welcome standard across the industry. For example, launching a pilot, building case studies, gathering data on the success, and getting industry bodies involved to support venues, making it the new norm, because great theatre starts with a great welcome. Thank you.
I'm Katie. I use she, her pronouns. I'm standing at a podium wearing a green suit and big round black glasses that make me feel like a saucy cartoon bug. I am a director, an intimacy director, and a performer. I am sometimes known as the maven of mischief and mayhem, and I love theater. I've devoted over half my life to theater. I believe in the power of stories told well, and I believe in the power of stories told not so well. I believe in the transportive nature of our work, and I believe one of theater's greatest powers is its ability to evolve. That's why I'm here. To propose a season of theater bold and brave enough to meet the moment we're living in. What if, for just 1 year, we chose not to produce plays by white cisgender men and instead only produced plays by literally everyone else? A conscious pause, an invitation to expand, to examine, to evolve, to participate in the ethical imperative of expansive storytelling. Countless artists, activists, and visionaries have long asked theater to reflect more of the world it serves. And that's really good news because it means momentum is already with us. Over 70% of produced plays are still written by white men. Actors of color, especially women, are underrepresented on stage. There are systemic disparities in funding, opportunity, and recognition. In 2023, only 6 of the 50 shows produced on the West End were written by women. Out, trans, and non-binary playwrights were 0% of those. Across our industry, the people who have the power to make these decisions, the ones who count the programming, who control the programming rather, are overwhelmingly white cisgender men. In 2022, that was 84% of theatrical nonprofit organizations in the United States. In my city, it is all but 2 of the equity houses. The margins aren't metaphorical, they're measurable. Audiences are changing. They're younger, they're queerer, they're more racially diverse. They have visible and invisible disabilities. They want stories that reflect their world. If we don't expand the canon, we all but guarantee the empty seats we see in our theaters now become empty rows. This is a business investment. This is the smartest possible long play for theater's survival. Audiences are evolving. If we don't evolve with them, we won't be in business for much longer. The canon itself is a living, breathing organism. It's not an immovable monument to tradition. It has endured millennia and centuries of strife. It has grown with additions of playwrights from the 20th century. It is also 88% white cisgender men. If inclusion equals access, then what does belonging look like? Access is an open door. Belonging is the sense that these voices are part of the canon, part of the family itself. It's the difference between being visible and being seen. This idea is an invitation to critically examine whose voices dominate our stages and what it could mean to shift that balance, even for the historical equivalent of an exhale. How do we do this? We set policy for 1 year, hold ourselves accountable with a public commitment, commission underrepresented playwrights, create a living database of plays, identify smaller companies and independent artists already doing this work, and we elevate them with funds and with venues. We can establish a pipeline for the future. We reimagine the canon. And what happens after 1 year? We will know that equity is a practice. It's something we actively choose. It's sustainable. It's leaving our industry better than we found it. We can be part of this big idea together. Real change requires collective courage. If you have a platform, a season, a stage, consider this your invitation to make a lasting impact through the ethical imperative of expansive storytelling. Let's stop staging nostalgia and start scripting what's next, boldly and for all of us. Thank you.
You for your amazing speech and equally amazing suit. Participatory theatre has the power to transform young people's lives. It provides a safe space, empowers them to be themselves, builds their confidence, and expands their understanding of the wider world. But today I'm speaking to a room full of people who already know this. I don't need to convince you of the life-changing impact of youth theatre or the critical importance of participatory and outreach arts programmes. These already exist. As an industry, we recognise the need to remove financial barriers to access, especially for young people who would benefit the most. Many of us have equity, diversity and inclusion KPIs to meet, whether set internally or by our funders. And many of you already demonstrate your commitment by offering bursaries to ensure that cost is not a barrier. However, we also know that for a lot of us, these subsidies come at a cost to our already stretched budgets. Where bursaries can be spoken about openly, the process often demands intrusive applications and with criteria decided by your engagement teams. We ask parents to declare again and again, I am in need, I am disadvantaged. Why would someone share something so deeply personal with a theatre company or even an industry they may have never engaged with before? This system creates a paradox. The bursary designed to open doors can end up becoming another barrier. Meanwhile, schools receive pupil premium funding, or pupil development grants in Wales and pupil support funds in Northern Ireland, specifically to close the attainment gap for disadvantaged students. The Department for Education outlines it clearly. This funding should support evidence-based interventions that promote academic growth and well-being. In the financial year 2024 to 2025, the UK government allocated over 2.9 billion to pupil premium in England. In January 2024, 2.1 million children were eligible for free school meals, which is a key indicator for pupil premium funding. Currently, pupil premium is typically spent on equipment, additional staff, tutoring, or extracurricular activities within school walls, often run by the teachers themselves. I spoke to a head of drama in a Plymouth State School, a secondary school, where 43% of students were eligible for pupil premium, and they receive $550,000 a year. Their key priority, building cultural capital. In contrast, a primary school in Ealing with only 8% eligibility still receives $73,000 a year. Their priorities, confidence in communication, well-being, and broadening horizons. In both cases, their pupil premium priorities align with what we know youth theatre can offer. Some schools already use pupil premium funds to subsidise theatre trips, but these experiences are one-offs. They don't translate into sustained, meaningful engagement with the arts outside of a school setting. Everyone here knows that when we invite young people into professional theatre spaces, not just school halls, they are exposed to high-quality training, a deeper understanding of the industry, and a peer group beyond their classroom, giving them a chance to find their tribe. It's transformative. So, what if we could unlock pupil premium funding to subsidise youth theatre places for the young people who need them most? Instead of these theatres stretching their already thin resources, we could redirect existing ring-fence funding to where it could have the greatest impact, structured, high-quality theatre programmes. This isn't about creating new initiatives. This isn't about asking for more money. The programmes already exist, the funding already exists, and the need already exists. Now we just need to join the dots. Thank you.
Two speakers before we open up the voting on the big ideas. It's coming up now. Catherine Russell, who joins us by video, as she can't be here in person, and Rob Miles. Rob, hold fire. Let's hear from Catherine in the first instance.
Hi, I'm Catherine Russell, General Manager of the Theatre Center here in New York City. We are honored to be a finalist in the Stage's Future of Theater's Big Idea, and we are excited to share with you how we are using technology to make theater more accessible, inclusive, and future forward. Every day, thousands of people walk past our Times Square venue, many whose first language isn't English. But traditionally, live theater has offered very few ways for those people to truly engage with a performance. We knew we could do better.
Here's how it works. Step 1, scan a QR code when you first enter the theater. Step 2, select your language from over 50 options. Step 3, listen to the show in real time through your phone and headphones. No app, no clunky devices, just a seamless, multilingual experience.
It's affordable and scalable, especially for theaters that can't invest in traditional captioning or live interpreters for every performance. The production also doesn't change. The actors don't have to do anything differently. It's just another way for the audience to connect. Beyond that, it opens doors for tourists, for multilingual families, for people who are hard of hearing, for anybody who's ever felt like theater wasn't for them. It helps us to connect with more audiences, which isn't that the point of theater?
One of my first lines in Perfect Crime is, Mrs. Stewart, the man hasn't shown up yet. Now let's listen to it in a few other languages.
Señora Stewart, el hombre no apareció hoy. Madame Stewart, l'homme ne s'est pas présenté aujourd'hui.
My job is to call the show and run the cues. Now I also trigger the AI translation feed to help match our live pacing. It's been surprisingly smooth. The system learns fast and adapts quickly, which is critical in live theater.
We see this as more than just a cool feature. It's a survival tool for the industry. By removing the language barrier, we're unlocking new audiences, new revenue streams, and most importantly, a new level of inclusion. It's not a pre-recorded tape or a series of subtitles. It adapts to every live performance, giving the audience a live translation of every word said on stage, intended or not. The future of theater is more global, more welcoming, and more accessible. And we are proud to be the first theater to make that future possible. We are so proud to share this big idea, and we hope to see you at the theater soon in any language you choose. Thank you.
Dankeschön. Σας ευχαριστώ.
Faleminderit.
Bedankt. Merci.
תודה לך.
Everyone, my name is Rob Miles. I'm a multi-award-winning freelance theatre director, actor and teaching artist with specialisms in Shakespeare, stage combat, digital theatre and innovation. I'm also from Barnsley, of working class origin, state schooled, neurodivergent, and I'm a dad, so it's tough. After all, I, as we all do, exist in polycrisis. We've been talking about it all morning, so some of this will sound familiar. Imagine things continue like recent headlines suggest. Theatres are staging 31% fewer shows again in 10 years' time. Audiences continue to age out. Drama training is siloed in the world's most expensive cities. Tuition costs rise and contact hours fall. Schools face down AI, seeking ways to train skills like collaboration, communication, creativity, and critical thinking, while arts and humanities, best placed to deliver those skills, come last, to say nothing of minor issues like fascism and the climate. Imagine, instead, we reverse this decline with a radical redistribution. So, what do we have, and could we use it better? The National Theatre gets MPO funding of 16.8 million annually. The RSC, for our national poet, gets 16 million. Between them, they made 27 shows in a year. That's 33 million in 2 privileged areas of the UK. Privilege, by the way, predicts success in theatre, while 90% of working class parents warn their kids off creative careers, as they should. Admirable outreach, education and community programmes radiate from these institutions to the regions. Imagine, instead, we unified, then decentralised those same resources. A devolved national repertory network, nurturing and drawing from the talent found everywhere. This map shows MPO or equivalent funding levels adjusted for population. The NT and the RSC are the big red blotches. Within a 90-minute travel radius, they have a combined reach of approximately 13 million people. If we were to take only their combined MPO funding and split it across the 12 ONS regions, we could support 12 national repertory network hubs with 2.6 million per year. For context, the 3rd and 4th top-funded MPO theatres are the Royal Exchange Manchester and the Royal Court with 2.6 1.3 million. So that's 12 top-funded producing companies. Using 90-minute travel radii to maximise unique population reach, here are 12 possible national repertory network hubs, one per ONS region. The new potential reach is somewhere between 38 and 42 million, an over 300% increase. These national repertory network hubs use existing theatres and infrastructure, supporting them, but independently run and funded, as well as not instead of. A dramatic evolution of the NT Connections, Theatre Nation Partnerships Network, and the RSC's partner theatres. Redistribution builds regional autonomy. Regional autonomy can rebuild national dignity. Michael Sheen knows what I'm talking about. Both the RSC and National Theatre's own stated aims, look them up, creativity in young people, train theatre makers, partner with communities, produce high-quality theatre for everyone, could be better achieved by disseminating presence in this way. The wealth creation and cultural impact could be better distributed too. So what could it be? The National Repertory Network could be a service that invests in the future of the creative industries, bridging that perilous void, which has been mentioned today already, between emerging and established artists, paying full-time wages at the real living wage. It develops artist citizens regularly engaged in their communities and schools and drawn from them too. Company demographics represent their regions. Term limits ensure fresh talent can cycle through. Each company could use a sustainable model, creating 3 shows a year, a classic or classical text, a new play, and a responsive piece to emergent issues, national themes, or company specialisms. These then tour around the other National Repertory Network hubs on rotation. That's 36 shows a year, boosting output, new shows regularly in each region, and everyone gets a London run. Familiar, frequent, and affordable, right? Network hubs could be places to train, paid apprenticeships for the region's deprived, low-income and underrepresented demographics. Placements available for CLAW leadership, National Youth Theatre, local universities. Longer rehearsals allow for training alongside production. That's more pathways of possibility in more places. Regional hubs could have the autonomy to create responsive solutions in education and community work while sharing and scaling those initiatives to the national level via the network. Rep companies have struggled in the modern era. They've been exceptional, experimental and isolated. But here, scale, governance and efficiency help keep them buoyant. Funding is centralised, resources, assets and box office shared. There's many ways that we can be Robin Hood here. Could we fund this as well as the RSC and the National, rather than instead of? Would we prefer that? Labour has made devolution a central policy elsewhere. Why not fund this grassroots cultural regeneration through, for instance, the Kaminsky streaming levy? With the support of devolved national arts funding bodies to cover their hubs, that's 7.8 million covered before the ACE MPO even gets involved. Local authorities could contribute for the education and training. Commercial theatres could donate. Where are you? Building a talent pipeline they'll later profit from. Successful actors, why don't you become a patron of your hometown's National Repertory Network hub? And if we still can't find £32 million today, let's do a pilot. I've got costs, I've got ideas, I've got challenges and opportunities, and I'm sure you do as well. So, 2.6 million. One hub. Then another. Then another. Thank you.